You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
New Fortress Energy recently hosted an entrepreneurship workshop at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, and Business Access TV was there to bring you the highlights. Stay tuned.
I've had the pleasure of chatting with Danny over the last few weeks and having lovely conversation last evening. And you will know that Danny is the executive director of the Jonathan M. Nelson Center for Entrepreneurship at Brown University. But what you probably don't know is that he's not just a professor at a university, he's first and foremost an entrepreneur. He started and sold many businesses, and he is globally recognized for his teaching of entrepreneurship. And he's very passionate about this. And, you know, people who are in this field tend to be very passionate, just like you as entrepreneurs. I know that Danny is going to get a lot more into his background, so I won't say very much more, except to welcome you, Danny, to Jamaica. It's his first time. Let's give him a warm Jamaican welcome.
Like many of you in this room, I am an entrepreneur. I'm somebody who's had some pretty deep, long-term, successful entrepreneurial experience. And that dates back to when I was even an undergraduate at Brown University. I was a history concentrator. Any other liberal arts concentrators in the room or majors in the room? That's interesting, not that many. So I studied history. I knew nothing about business. I didn't even know the word entrepreneurship. And my senior year at Brown, I was asked to join a software company. We built that company up, and in the late 80s, we sold it to Apple. And I thought, wow, that's kind of a cool thing that we did. I knew nothing about business or technology, and I was able to contribute pretty significantly to that process. By the way, to my young students, I have to clarify that in the late 80s, there were such things called computers, because they can't envision that in the 80s there were computers. But once I clarified for them, they're interested to hear, oh, you were a student at Brown and you did that. So I'm a big proponent of liberal arts, history, languages, political science as the basis of a good foundation for just about anything, and in particular for starting things, new ventures for entrepreneurship. About 13 years ago, I got a fateful tap on the shoulder from a beloved professor at Brown, somebody who had actually helped us and supported us when we were students to start that company, to teach entrepreneurship at Brown. And I was confused for a couple reasons. One, first of all, I thought he was joking, because I told him I had never taught anything, nothing, not even Sunday school. He must have the wrong guy. And besides that, how is it even possible to teach entrepreneurship? And he's not the kind of person you can easily say no to, so before I knew it, I was in front of a Brown class teaching entrepreneurship. And so I always say that teaching entrepreneurship is what I call a participation sport, not a spectator sport, meaning that you can't really teach it unless you do it. And so I want to make sure it's clear that a lot of people are sometimes confused about what even we mean by entrepreneurship. And so I want to make sure I ground us in a common understanding. And I thought I might start by involving you. And this is not a quiz. I'm not looking for you to define entrepreneurship. I'll do that for us. But what I am looking for is when I say the word entrepreneurship, and there are no right answers, what words or thoughts come to mind? When I say entrepreneurship, what word comes to mind? Being different, okay, not being like everybody else. Passion. So you have to be really excited about being different. Taking risks. Risk is often on people's minds. Half crazy. Why half crazy? Maybe all the way crazy. Exactly. What else? What other words come to mind when I say the word entrepreneurship? Patience. That's interesting. So you might not get it right the first time. It sounds like you might have some experience with that. And maybe related, I heard sleepless nights. So when it feels like you should be getting it right the first time, and you don't, you have to go back to the drawing board. Maybe that's at 3 in the morning or even a little later. What else? Maybe a few other comments. Innovation. So yes, that's often a word I hear from the Latin root. I took 4 years of Latin, and my Latin teacher would be proud for me to remember that it comes from the word nova, meaning new. So it means to create something new. Yeah, so is that what you were thinking of when you thought that? Yes. What else? What other words or thoughts come to mind? Yeah. Quitting your job? Could be, yes. Right. Not necessarily, but in your point of view, that's your sense of it, that you're losing your ties to a dependable income and you're going all in by being aggressive. Could be. And maybe that leads to some of those same sleepless nights, yes? Problem solving. You took a peek at my slides, I have a feeling. Excellent, yes. So all these words resonate with the whole concept of entrepreneurship.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Delighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
So New Fortress Energy is a global energy infrastructure company. What we've done in Jamaica is we've actually helped partner with JPS to introduce natural gas into Jamaica. And so we have two big projects in Jamaica, one in Montego Bay and one at Old Harbor, that are bringing the infrastructure into Jamaica so that we can bring clean energy to provide to power for the power plants in Jamaica, as well as industrial customers like Red Stripe, UE, and others. So we're helping the transition for Jamaica to go from the heavy fuels, the polluting fuels, to clean energy like natural gas and renewable energy like solar and wind.
How important is it for you to host an event of this nature for the entrepreneurs of Jamaica and outside of Jamaica as well?
Yeah, we are super excited to participate and help facilitate this event because entrepreneurship is so important to the economic growth and sustainable growth of an economy. Our company was founded by Wes Edens, who's a big investor in Jamaica, a big believer in the economic potential of this country, and he's an entrepreneur. So he understands the principles and the practices that you need to put in place for small businesses to grow and flourish and become medium businesses and become large businesses and employ a lot of people. And so what we want to do here is not only invest heavily in energy infrastructure, which we're already doing, but invest in the overall economy. And so we're focused on education and we're focused on entrepreneurship.
Now, how many of you have ever heard the phrase entrepreneurial spirit? Yeah, a number of you have. I have too. And I have to tell you, I cringe when I hear it. And I'll tell you why. Because it doesn't really mean anything to me. And it's the kind of fluffy phrase that might sound intriguing, but imagine if I, as a professor, were charged with teaching somebody how to have the entrepreneurial spirit. I wouldn't know where to start. And it doesn't sound like the kind of thing that you could replicate or clarify or standardize or teach somebody. And from your point of view, I don't know how you would learn the entrepreneurial spirit. And so instead, what I've done through the years, since that fateful moment when I was an undergraduate, drawn into my first entrepreneurial experience, when I was asked a few years later to teach at Brown, and I started to rack my head to say, okay, I got to do this teaching. How am I going to teach people entrepreneurship? I thought again about the fact that Brown teaches entrepreneurship in engineering. And I thought, you know what? If you're teaching somebody engineering, you're not going to say, if let's say you wanted to teach them how to build a bridge, how would it sound if you said, you know what? Just go out there and have the bridge building spirit. How absurd would that sound? You laughed, of course. You know, just go out there and throw up a bridge, and if it holds the trucks and the cars, terrific. And if instead they come crashing down to earth, then go out there and be persistent. Just try it again. No, that would sound totally absurd. Brown would lose its accreditation. It wouldn't have an engineering school. And yet, many of you nodded your head when I said, how many of you have heard that phrase, entrepreneurial spirit? And I contended back then, and even more so given all the experience I've had teaching people entrepreneurship, that it's even more absurd to talk to people about entrepreneurship without having it grounded in a structured process. In bridge building, in the engineering school, we've distilled out of the whole enterprise of bridge building some standard elements that you can follow that have organized components to them. A structured methodology, a beginning, a middle, and an end. Every bridge follows a certain standard type of guideline in terms of how it was built. At the same time, every bridge is different from every other. Functionally, operationally, aesthetically. And so there's room, even when you're following a structured process, for your bridge to reflect the own nuances of whatever bridge it's going to be. And similarly, in entrepreneurship, I'm going to share with you the 3 structured elements of the process that I teach that you can learn and master. And even still, just like in bridge building, there's a lot of variation in terms of the kind of ventures or startups that all of you are involved with or could be involved with. And so these are those 3 elements that I distilled into my own teaching and that I teach people all over the world. The first is find and validate an unmet need, which in short means, what's the problem? What problem are you looking to solve? And I always advise starting with defining that unmet need, especially in the context of people who are technology focused. Remember, I teach in engineering, so I'm surrounded by lots of them. And they tend to rush past defining the problem. They like to dive in with a technology that they think is a solution. The problem is, it's a solution in search of a problem. And that's a pretty costly, error-ridden way to start the process. So instead, we always start with find and validate an unmet need, The second is develop a value proposition, which is the second part of this process, and that is essentially on a small scale, what's the solution to the problem you've discovered? It could be in a lab, it could be in a maker space, it could be in a social enterprise incubator, but what's the solution to the problem you've identified on a small scale? And then really important is this third element, and it's often where I think people fall short. And actually I've heard a little bit of theme in my limited time already today in Jamaica that this is an area that people are concerned about, and that is, even if you've identified an unmet need that is worthy of addressing, even if you've developed a small-scale solution to that problem, the third element is create a sustainability model that enables you to have big impact at scale. So you're not only having impact in your small neighborhood or university or parish or even across Jamaica, but in a way that has sustainable, big impact that you can replicate, that you can scale across perhaps the entire world. So it's those three elements that are really critical as we think through this entrepreneurial process. And what we're going to do for the remaining time we have today is dive pretty deeply into this first one, find and validate an unmet need. I feel really strongly about doing that because I find that if you shortchange that part of the process, then you build a really flimsy foundation for what comes next. And if you build a really firm foundation by establishing a very clear and actionable unmet need, then those two other elements of value proposition and sustainability model roll themselves.
Talk to us about some of the partners that made this event possible today.
So we came in and really enlisted, saw where the ecosystem for entrepreneurship is very vibrant, very active. Jamaicans, on a whole, are really entrepreneurs themselves, and recognize some incredible organizations that were doing amazing work, like First Angels, Development Bank of Jamaica, Jamaica Business Development Corporation, Branson Center, and it's a huge ecosystem that we have tapped into. And of course, on the educational level, you have UA as well as UTech and Northern Caribbean University. So we are plugged into that mechanism. I mean, what we want to do is to add to the conversation and try to impact it via investment where, access to capital for startups are a little bit of a challenge for them. So this is one area that we're really focused on to see how we can assist micro, small, and medium-sized business to gain access to capital.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, Fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and they say, what are you going to be? The parents say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
First Angels Jamaica is one of the partners for today's entrepreneurship workshop. How did First Angels get involved?
So, New Fortress Energy is our newest member of the Angel Network, and we've been talking about how we can collaborate to improve entrepreneurship in Jamaica and get people in the ecosystem closer together. So we thought that it would be a good idea to have this workshop. Danny Warshay is from Brown University, from the Jonathan M. Nelson Center for Entrepreneurship. And, New Fortress has a relationship with Brown. And so they suggested that we have Danny as our speaker, and we were thrilled to have him. So we have been working with our ecosystem partners, with the Jamaica Business Development Corporation, with the Branson Center of Entrepreneurship, and First Angels and other partners to target the people that they are working with, the young entrepreneurs that they're working with, and you can see them here today. We're very pleased that our partners have come through, and the young people who are working with the various business service institutions, especially through the DBJ's program and Branson Center and JBDC, have come today to hear Danny, because his talk has been very important for young people and not so young people who are starting businesses and learning how to be better entrepreneurs.
So how can you guys start to implement bottom-up research? Take some notes on these flip charts, because then we're going to hear from some of your tables as you report back to the whole group.
So we have little points here, because we're trying to strategize, and we're saying, all right, observation of the deaf community. How do we communicate to them? We do not know sign language, but I do have a friend who's deaf, but they can text. You can ask them to teach you things. You understand? Accessibility. They don't want to feel excluded in anything. In society, we tend to use our own biases because we're so imperfect about certain things. We're saying, okay, they're not going to understand that because they're deaf. They might be deaf, but they're still human, and they do have different aspirations like us. So we're saying, all right, what is most important to them? What can be done to improve their circumstances? Can we include the government in it? Can we do like volunteer services? We should shadow them, shadow one person, and do a one-to-one thing with them. Be more personal with them. Empathize with them. Gaining their trust. Because most of the time you're not going to be trustworthy. Putting yourself in their shoe. Continuous documentation. You're not going to write right in front of them, You're going to write at home in your diary. Aspiration. What drives them? What get them up in the morning? Probably the possible solution that we could find is try to get entrepreneurs who are in different sectors, like I'm in the tourism industry, she's in gastronomy, he's in the food packaging industry, she does jewelry making, and she caters to the deaf community.
Our unmet need was weight loss management. I don't know if you've been looking in the newspapers, but lifestyle illnesses is a major topic in Jamaica, and we have Jamaica Moves. We have a lot of movements about losing weight, but what we don't have a lot of products for is maintenance, which is far more difficult than losing weight. And so we looked at, we did the bottom-up research, but we've been asked to look at the adaptations. So some of the, I should turn it around a little bit, cultural differences. Jamaicans like products from overseas. It will be very hard to get them to buy into a local product, and so we'd have to look at adapting it for the Jamaican market. Our culture, of course, which, we have a lot of music, and a lot of cultural proverbs which revere fat women, and so we'd have to look at how we would approach that. We definitely have a quick fix mentality. We don't like maintenance, and so we actually also included a no maintenance mentality. We have a lot of projects that we start, but the follow through is just not there. And we also thought maybe some persons might be reluctant to participate in a project like this.
The DBJ, as you know, has a major focus on entrepreneurship. And we have one of our big projects for this year is how are we going to take entrepreneurship and innovation to another level. So when New Fortress Energy came and was looking to expand the work that they're doing in entrepreneurship in Jamaica, one of the entities that they spoke with was with the University of the West Indies. And we have a close relationship with the university. So they gave us a call to say New Fortress was looking to become involved. And, you know, basically having invested in Jamaica's energy sector, they saw where they could actually, through their foundation, actually contribute to entrepreneurship development in Jamaica. And based on the work that we are already doing, the university thought that it would be a good fit for us to actually meet with New Fortress and partner with them on some of these initiatives.
How can entrepreneurs at each stage, whether startup, established, how can they benefit from the workshop and apply all the tools necessary?
It's a great question. And I even gave some examples of ventures that were well into their several decades of development. And what I teach is something that I know from my own experience can be used in all sorts of different kinds of aged contexts. So, for example, in many cases, I'm asked to teach this entrepreneurial process in very big, well-established companies. And it's because they recognize that some of their threat, some of their biggest challenge, some of their most significant competition is coming from the early stage companies who are using this process, and they need to learn it for their own safeguard and defensibility. So I've never seen a context in which we couldn't apply the entrepreneurial process that I teach for the benefit of whoever's asking me to teach there. That could be very early stage, it can be very late stage. It doesn't even have to be in a business context. I teach this entrepreneurial process all across the Brown ecosystem in virtually every discipline you could find. In some cases, that third element I described, the sustainability model, is a business model. In other cases, it isn't. When I'm working with neuroscience researchers, the outcome there is better neuroscience research. When I'm dealing with doctors at the Brown Medical School or Brown medical students, the outcome isn't necessarily a commercialized product. It could be better medical outcomes. When I'm dealing with the philosophy department at Brown, the outcome is how do we think through the ethics of entrepreneurship? So we think at Brown very expansively about the wide application of this process, not narrowly as just a method for creating a business.
That's it for our coverage of the New Fortress Energy Entrepreneurship Workshop with special guest Danny Warshay. You're watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
The business community has suffered tremendously due to extortion. Some have not just lost their businesses, their jobs, but lost their lives. This is extremely impactful to the growth of our country and to the progress of our people. We are our brother's keeper. Let's put a stop to this. No more use of force. No more use of fear. No more extortion. No more.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Going back to school after a long, exciting summer with your family and friends can be a bit rough. But look on the bright side, you will be going out tomorrow in your new shoes, your new bag, your new hairstyle, almost new everything to kickstart the school year. And if nothing else, a new attitude and a new opportunity to be better and do better. Think about all the fun you will have learning and exploring with your new teacher and classmates. Stay focused and enjoy it all. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I am Theodore Henry. We have an interesting show lined up just for you, so stay tuned as your favorite magazine unfolds.
Well, I dare to make a difference, and I dare to take a stand. Let me dare to think of someone else who's in need of a helping hand.
The Office of the Children's Advocate is very aware that we have some parents who get particularly anxious at the start of a new school year. And so we really just wanted to share with you a few tips that you can utilize to help keep your children, especially the very young ones who are going out for the first time, nice and safe from sexual abuse. Parents need to recognize that the private parts, as we call them, or the genitalia, are regular parts of the body. And so in teaching your children about the forehead and the nose and the hand, you can also teach them the names of these body parts, because that does two things. It puts them in a position to speak about these parts when something is going wrong, and it also tells them that even though they're private parts, it's not too private to talk about, particularly with a parent. Children need to know that there should be no secrets between them and their parents or guardians. Oftentimes, when persons want to abuse children, they tend to encourage them to keep a little secret. You know, this is between me and you. But from very early, parents need to establish with their children that the lines of communication are open. Mommy and daddy, or auntie and uncle, or whoever is the responsible adult in that child's life, can actually have a discussion, age appropriate of course, about anything at all that may be troubling the child. The third tip is that parents need to cultivate throughout the child's lifespan that environment whereby the child feels comfortable to speak. Conversation should not be off limit, topics should not be taboo, and you really need to get to a stage whereby you have teachable moments, we call them. So we see a lot of things reported in the newspapers, sometimes on the nightly news, and we can use some of these instances of horrible things that are happening to other children to start little discussions with our own children to give them tips as to how they can avoid or prevent, perhaps completely, any such reality happening to them. For these tips, and of course any other information that deals with children, that is anyone under 18 years, please feel free to contact the Office of the Children's Advocate. We're at 72 Harbour Street, downtown Kingston, and our numbers are 948-1134, or website www.oca.gov.jm.
Well, I dare to make a difference, and I dare to take a stand. Let me dare to think of someone else who's in need of a helping hand.
The Development Bank of Jamaica provides loans for micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. So if you are interested in starting a business or seeking an advance to improve the one you already have, get all the facts next.
Welcome to Get the Facts, the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm your host, Enthros Campbell. Today we're discussing the critical issue of access to financing by micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, MSMEs. The Development Bank of Jamaica, the DBJ, has been facilitating this process, and in studio is General Manager of the Strategic Services Division, Christopher Brown. Mr. Brown, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
What a big title that is. What do you do?
At the Development Bank, there are many activities that I'm responsible for. The primary one is capacity development for the bank, but I'm also in charge of strategic planning and research and product development for the bank.
Let's start with the MSMEs. What are the services you lend them? We know that people that need money, and they are considered to be the engine of growth as it relates to growth and development, yes?
Correct.
So what services do you offer to them?
Well, one of our primary services, as I mentioned, is capacity development.
Yes.
So we understand that MSMEs, in order to operate their businesses more efficiently and even get investors, whether they're going for a loan or a private investor, they themselves need to be ready. So we have a number of different programs that gives grants and technical assistance to help these MSMEs to understand how to operate their business better. It could be training programs to teach you how to do proper accounting. We have programs that allow you to actually get the accounting services done, get business plans done, get marketing plans done. I would say a number of the different requirements that the banks will say you need to have in order to access loans. So there are a number of different programs we have. We give grants of up to $4 million, dependent on the different program that will allow businesses to test their ideas, especially if what they're doing is very innovative.
Grants mean that they don't have to pay it back, right?
That is
so
correct.
$4 million.
Right. So
yes.
Some of the programs, we have a program currently called the Ignite program, which is focused on innovative businesses. So somebody bringing a new product or a new process to the market. They were able to get $4 million to be able to develop that prototype and help to bring it to the market, so to make it commercially viable. Yes. There are other programs we have, which is our Voucher for Technical Assistance program, which allows any business to get up to $200,000 in grants to be able to get the necessary documents that I mentioned. Get a business plan done, get your accounting done, get your financial statements done, as well as I think there are at least 20 other services that you can get access to with that particular program.
For that money that you don't have to pay back. So how does that work, though? How do you help in this regard? Do you actually have a technocrat who sits with the persons and help them to do the business plan? Or that's how it works?
Well, currently there's a portal, dbjvoucher.com, that you can visit, and it will list all the services that we offer. It will also list the accredited business development organizations which you can go to. So you'll get a voucher, you carry it to one of these technocrats, technical service providers, and they would be able to give the necessary assistance that you require based on the voucher that you particularly have.
So how do people know about these facilities? What are you doing to ensure that people know about these facilities?
Well, there are a number of different marketing campaigns that we run. Opportunities like this where we come here, we tell people about the different programs we have. We partner with the approved financial institutions or commercial banks or microfinance institutions or other financial institutions who offer our services to let their clients know about these particular services.
So the approved financial institutions, these are regular banks?
That's correct.
Yes.
In addition to commercial banks, we have credit unions that are approved financial institutions. So SMEs that want DBJ financing can go to 23 different financial institutions
across the island
to ask for a specific DBJ loan. And what they will get are loans at concessionary rates or concessionary terms. So either lower interest rates than what you would normally get walking into the bank, or for longer tenures or a longer time for you to repay the loan. Maybe it's normally 5 years. In this, you can get up to 10 years.
Right. So you have some control over the interest rates that the institutions will lend?
Well, dependent on the program we have, we indicate to the banks that they should not lend above a certain amount. So it isn't the misconception out there is that we lend to the banks and then the banks add on a lot more interest rate and makes our money more expensive. But it's quite the contrary. What we do is we indicate that there is, let's say, a maximum that the interest rate can be to try and ensure that MSMEs still get at concessionary rates.
All right, tell me who is a
MSME.
MSME, right?
Okay, MSME, well, it's micro, small, and medium-sized
Right.
enterprise.
Who is micro, who is small? What
Micro
qualifies me?
is, if your annual revenue is less than 15 million J, you'd qualify as a micro entrepreneur business. If you're less than 75, so between 15 and 75 million annual revenue would be a small business. And then a medium-sized business would be 425 million or less.
Okay, all right. So I need a loan from DBJ, not from DBJ, but through your facility.
Right.
The first thing I do, I approach the bank or the institution,
Right.
and I say I would like to. What's the step? Tell us
Right.
about
So when
steps.
you go to the bank, any of these financial or approved financial institutions, you indicate that you want a DBJ loan. They will tell you there are different requirements that you need to bring. Maybe it's a business plan, a marketing plan, to show that you have some kind of management capacity.
Yes.
What you can do at that point in time is log on to our voucher portal, apply for a voucher, and carry it to one of these service providers. Okay. After you get what the banks have asked you to provide, you can go into the bank and then request a particular loan amount. Let's say it is $10 million you want to borrow. They would typically ask you to have collateral to be able to secure the loan. This is where DBJ's credit enhancement facility comes in, where we will guarantee up to $30 million or 80% of the loan.
Let's continue with this discussion on the enhancement fund when we return from the break.
Okay.
We want a productive Jamaica. We all are productive Jamaicans. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity is the way to go for all us Jamaicans. Small business, big business, old and young, we are tell every woman and man. We want growth and prosperity for a better nation with a building plan. So we can build our product and sell our product and put more money in our hand. Our economy can rise to a level and build a better nation. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity.
Productivity, Pathway to Prosperity. A message brought to you by the Jamaica Productivity Center, a department of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. We continue our discussion with Christopher Brown, who is the General Manager for Strategic Services Division at the Development Bank of Jamaica, the DBJ. Mr. Brown, when we were going to the break, we were talking about the Credit Enhancement Facility. Tell us about that.
Okay, so the Credit Enhancement Facility is really a guarantee program. So it helps businesses that don't have enough collateral to get collateral support from the DBJ. So currently, our program allows for us to provide a guarantee of up to 80% of the loan amount at to a maximum of $30 million. So if a small business is borrowing $30 million, DBJ would provide a guarantee for 80% of that. So 20% or just about is what the MSME would have to find to be able to get access to the facility. And we think this is a critical driver for the ecosystem, the marketplace at the moment, because we understand that small businesses may not have enough collateral to be able to access the necessary financing to improve their operations. So we've introduced this particular program. And what we really want is we want the banks to recognize DBJ as that key facilitator. So any bank that is interested in lending MSME loans needs to take advantage of the Credit Enhancement Facility.
Right. So you just guarantee 80% of the loan without anything, just like that?
We believe strongly in the development of MSMEs, and we want to really partner with our banks to be able to make that a reality. And the banks themselves may see it as kind of risky for lending to MSMEs, so we're stepping in to really help them to lend more to micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises.
All right. Other services to the MSMEs, tell me about.
Okay, so I would mention 2 other services that we have. We're working on a new program currently called Reverse Factoring, which allows small businesses who normally get paid in 60, 90 days, different credit terms, and it takes a long time for them to actually get paid, for them to be able to be paid early.
Yes.
So when the program starts, you would see MSMEs being able to get paid within 5 or 10 days versus waiting 60 or 90 days to be able to get funding. So it's a very innovative product that we're looking at launching, which should be launched by the end of this year or early next year. And it would help businesses to get the working capital, the money that they need on a quicker basis to be able to turn it more efficiently.
Right, and this will provide a release of the funds faster.
Correct. And then another program that we have is our venture capital program, which allows businesses to get equity investment. So there are 2 different types of money that you would get. One is a loan that you'd have to pay back on a monthly basis, and then the other is equity, which is really some kind of ownership in the business where there is dividends that is paid more as return. And that is patient capital. So it's not intended to be repaid immediately, but you can take a longer time to be able to pay out anything out of your business. So it really helps your business. It's money that doesn't require a return immediately, but over a longer period of time.
Doesn't require them sending you, going to the bank to pay back money. So it's like a 60
day. It's probably more like a 5-year kind of time span. Yes, so an equity investor, the funds that we have, they would look to invest in businesses. And yes, they expect to get a return, but they expect to get a return over a longer period of time instead of on an ongoing basis.
And that is also through the banks?
No, it's through different funds. So we invest in private equity funds, and those funds will then invest in small and medium-sized enterprises. We actually have a fund that we're planning to launch next year called the SME Fund. It wouldn't be a DBJ SME fund, but we are helping the private sector to set it up and invest in small and medium-sized enterprises.
What are some of the issues you're having with MSME owners who are not coming forward because you have all of this money to unlend, but I've heard the cry all the time that people are not taking them along. What are the problems, and tell us what we're to do to ensure that we get the funding or to access the funding,
Right. I think there are a number of businesses who believe it is better to remain in this informal state. But something we try to encourage all the businesses is that the more formalized you get is the more access you get to these services. So most of the services I'm mentioning, you need to be a registered entity to get access to. So we strongly encourage the formalization. The other thing is that a number of the businesses are not sure how to manage these operations, and that's one of the complaints on the bank side, that the businesses themselves are not ready. The programs we have, such as the Voucher for Technical Assistance, the Ignite program, or other capacity building programs, are geared at fixing that particular issue, helping businesses to get themselves more structured, get their books in order, have them be able to walk into a bank and say, this is, or to an investor, it doesn't have to be a bank, to say, this is what my business looks like. I'm a good business to invest in.
So you don't leave them as soon as they get the loan, right? You will stay with them and help them as they build to become...
After they get a loan, they can continue to accessing these services that we have to help them to manage the business. Well, the programs that I mentioned are grant programs, so there is no cost to pay back the DBJ.
Yes. There's another initiative called the FETA, FETA?
FETA.
Tell us about that.
So FETA is another one of our capacity development programs, which was really more on the side of financial literacy. So we're teaching micro-entrepreneurs about the importance of managing your books, keeping particular records. It doesn't have to be this fancy accounting firm that you're going, but you can be using an exercise book and writing what you sell for a particular day, as well as passing your money through a bank. There are people who have these cash-based businesses and there's no evidence that they are earning the amount that they say they earn. and then they walk into a bank to try and get financing, but the banks have no record that you are actually earning the amount you say. So we encourage businesses, if you sell something today, deposit in the bank. If you need to draw it out the following day, because you need to buy goods on a continuous basis, then you do that. But that indicates to the bank that you are actually making money and that you are a good client for them to lend to.
Talk to us about the take-up of these offers that you have.
Right. Well, over the past 4 years, we've supported over 3,000 MSMEs in getting capacity building, access to capacity building services. Again, whether it's in the voucher program or the FETA or any other capacity building program. And we've seen where this has had impact on these businesses. The businesses have been able to go into a bank and get access to a loan, or even just manage their businesses more effectively and turn more revenue. The whole purpose of business is to be able to generate revenue so you can employ more people and grow. That's what we're about, helping the businesses to do.
Okay. Any success stories you want to share with them before we go?
We have many success stories.
Yes.
There are companies who have come through our programs within the university. They have accessed our grant from our Ignite program. They've gone on to borrow loans from a bank and also gone on to getting equity investment as well. So they've gone through the full gamut of the cycle of business.
So there are opportunities, and we're urging our small and medium enterprises to come on out and get funds from DBJ, get help to do your business plans and so on. Thank you so very much for sharing with us today on this program.
It was my pleasure.
Good. If you are an MSME owner and need funding, make sure to contact the Development Bank of Jamaica at 876-929-4000 and speak with an agent. You may also visit their website, dbankjm.com, to learn more about their products and services. This has been Get the Facts with our guest, Christopher Brown, General Manager for Strategic Services Division at the Development Bank of Jamaica. To watch this program again, log on to our social media handle at YouTube/WatchJIS. You may also stay connected to our website at jis.gov.jm for more information. Until next time, I'm Anthros Campbell. Take good care.
Jamaica Social Investment Fund, JSIF, celebrating over 20 years of investment in community development. JSIF has forged relationships with international funding partners as well as private and public sector entities. Let us continue to invest to reduce vulnerabilities. Let us build our social capital and resilient infrastructures to ensure full participation in Vision 2030. JSIF, investing for community development.
By now, you should have cleaned your shoes and maybe in the process of packing your school bag. But just so you don't leave anything behind, let's go over a few things that should be in your bag this school year.
For infant schools, we're recommending a dark-colored bag because we want to reduce the number of times we're washing the bags. And children play a lot, bags get dirty. We also want to ensure that in the bag, there is a water bottle. Water is important because as children play, they get dehydrated, and this will actually affect how comfortable they are. So we want to ensure that there's water in the bag so that they're sipping throughout the day. Now, especially for preschoolers, as they're entering schools for the first time, we know that there is separation anxiety. One of the things that we recommend is a toy. It helps them to be just a little more comfortable with that transition to school. Another thing that we want to place in the bag is a blanket. Children need sleep time, and so the blanket, a nice clean blanket, is good to add to the bag. Another thing that we recommend is a pencil case. We want a pencil case that is durable and one that can secure the pencils. Of course, you can't have a school bag without notebooks. One of the things we recommend is lighter notebooks for the children who are smaller because we do not want the bag to become too heavy. In the notebook, it's also advisable that you put an emergency contact number what would be recommended also is a change of uniform so that if they get dirty, they can change off. A clean rag is also recommended to dry their hands and also perhaps to wipe their faces. As times get hot, they become sweaty, we need a fresh rag. For children who are transitioning to primary or high school, you will notice that we have a bigger bag. So let's look at what should go in the bag. First of all, there is a smart device that we're recommending. Of course, you're going to refer to your school's policies regarding cell phones or other smart devices. But as we prepare our children for 21st century learning, if it is that the policy supports this, then we recommend that you ensure that there is a smart device so that the children can be using these to support their learning as dictated by their teachers. We also recommend hand sanitizer. In some situations, a teacher might want to keep the hand sanitizer for the student, and so you refer depending on the teacher or the school. Of course, we are also purporting hydration. We have to ensure that children remain hydrated. When children get hot, they become uncomfortable, and this affects teaching and learning. And of course, as a partner of the Jamaica Moves campaign, we're also suggesting water as opposed to other sugary drinks. Toiletry is very important. So we have a Ziploc bag here, and we have toilet paper and a piece of paper towel. And there is also wipes. Let's go to the inside of the bag. What's in here? We continue to ensure our children are equipped with the writing implements, but for security purposes, we suggest that you give them a case to house the paper, scissors, the pens and pencils. There are also exercise books. Now, these exercise books are a little heavier because, as you know, primary school and high school require more note-taking. So these are a little heavier. One of the things we must also have is a planner, because homework is very important. So we recommend that you write down the homework so that you can ensure that those are submitted on the due dates. Of course, you must have the textbooks. Now, textbooks can be many and they too can be heavy. So depending on what homework is assigned, you might want to work with a class teacher to also store some of these textbooks. So only the ones that will support homework will make it home. And you know, weather is also unpredictable. So we recommend an umbrella, a lightweight umbrella, or a rain cloak if you have it. We don't want our children getting ill because this will affect their attendance to school and ultimately affect learning. And that is it for what goes in the bag. We wish you a successful year. All the best.
It just makes sense that while we make hay as the sun shines, we should also save for the rainy days, because even as we all strive to rule our own destiny, life holds some inevitable and unexpected outcomes for which we should be as prepared as possible. Get the help you need now through the National Insurance Scheme. The NIS offers financial security when it's most needed to all gainfully employed or self-employed persons who contribute to this scheme. Whether it's loss of income due to injury on the job, sickness, retirement, and/or death of a breadwinner, there will be help waiting for you and your family. So if you are over 18 years of age and working, visit your nearest Ministry of Labour and Social Security parish office and get registered under the NIS. Start making your contributions in order to reap the numerous social protection benefits when that rainy day occurs. Email prunit@mlss.gov.jm or call 876-922-8000 to 13 for more information.
Thanks for watching another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Do join us again tomorrow when we'll do this all over again. Remember to follow us on our social media pages and even check out our website at jis.gov.jm. Also, feel free to send your feedback on today's show to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
This week on Home Sweet Home, we take a look at a development that is said to be an example of mindsets coming together to appease the demand for affordable but upmarket housing solutions in our urban centers. Stay with us. Now, before the building of a development commences, there is usually a conceptualization phase that usually involves architects. Now, I'm sitting here with Hugo Matthews, who's going to tell me about this phase as it relates to, of course, your development. So, firstly, before we get there, though, tell me about your company.
Okay, my name is Hugo Matthews. I am 50% of our company. The second half is Mr. Ewan Darling. We actually went to school together, and we always dreamed of having our own firm. And you know, we worked many places. We worked about maybe 4 different companies together, and we finally formed Virtuoso Architect. The word virtuoso means highly skilled artist, and that's what we think of ourselves as highly skilled artists. And we're learning every day, and we try to keep ourselves current in the market. Because I mean, the only way to be good in this business is to be great, and that's what we're trying to do.
Love that. So tell me a little about the architecture industry. What's that like?
Well, architecture industry is very interesting. The industry in Jamaica is actually very small, and the important thing to know about it is a lot of persons have a misconception about architects and architecture. They believe that all architects do is produce pretty drawings, but that's maybe 10% of what we actually do. You really have to have excellent technical competence because you're talking about millions of dollars being invested in a particular project. We have to be cognizant of every single thing that goes into a project. We have to know the inners of the building, the inner workings of it, what is comfortable, you know, what's a comfortable environment, how air passes through the building, how the building responds to climatic conditions, you know, if it's hot outside, if it's cold outside. We need to know and have a good idea of what services will be running through the building, and when we have a good grasp of all of those things, you know, we can actually design a proper structure. And also, you know, just be in awe of what your dream actually looks like, because we don't want to give somebody their dream. We want to give them something that they never dreamed of, and we always strive for that.
So talk to us about this new chic way of living in Kingston that you're currently working on.
First, let me start by, we're currently working on it, but it started many moons ago. Right. And it's a push not only by us at Virtuoso, but it's a push. It has been a push by many architects. What you have to think about is cities around the world. We're not just thinking about Jamaica in a little envelope or in a little box. We have to think about Jamaica as a global entity. And we have to look at what the future is doing, what are the new trends. And we don't want to look at it in any kind of isolation, because it's not everything that New York can do, we can do. Right. So we have to look at it and understand what is happening. The thing is, the constant thing is, urbanization is a real thing. Persons have been moving into urban areas, into Kingston, into cities, and they're living closer and closer together. What happens when that occurs is you have less space to develop. So we have to find ways of developing our sites to meet the needs of the persons who are coming in, the young professional. And you know, even though this new chic way for argument's sake is new, it actually isn't. What we're doing is we're looking at the past, we're looking at things that were done on a smaller scale, and we're bringing it into the modern era, and we're doing it in a big way. So what we're looking at is we're looking at vertical living. We're looking at increasing the density, and this is a push not only by architects but also the agencies. NEPA, they're pushing higher densities in Kingston, and we certainly welcome that. We have the technology to treat with it. One of the greatest things that hindered the original push is we didn't have the technology to deal with a certain quantity of persons living on a small site. Now we have the technology, we know how to do it. And what we want to do is we want to keep persons in the urban areas. The concept is if you live close to where you work, you will save on energy. And this new chic way of living is one. We want to give you wonderful housing. We want to give you wonderful housing, not just at level, but maybe 10 stories in the air. We want to give you maximum views. We want to give you a view of the hills in your kitchen, and when you walk to your bedroom, you have a view of the sea. You know, we want you to go downstairs and you're all of a sudden in an area of shopping. We want you to be able to meet with your friends all in a small area and certainly be able to network. So this new way is actually an old way that we're developing and building on in a more modern and bold way. Twenty South is maybe the first of its kind in Kingston. It's 10 stories high. It has over 75 units, 80 units to be exact. And it's, you know, on a small plot of land right in the middle of the Mecca almost. We're talking about, there are stones throw away from Harvey, a stones throw away from just running up to Devon House. We are right in the middle of it all. We're talking about you're close to transportation, you're close to New Kingston, you're close to Harvey shopping areas. So the site itself, it certainly presents itself as part of this new chic way of living, where you don't have to drive all the way to the suburbs. You know, you're in the mix, and that's the type of lifestyle that we want to promote. We think it's the way forward. We think it's the way to go. We'll lose billions and billions of dollars in loss of energy, in just being stuck in traffic. Something like this, if we have more of them popping up, you know, tall cities as they call them in other countries, this is an energy efficient way of living.
How do you strike a balance between what a client wants and what, in your professional opinion, is what's best for them?
Well, you know, that's an interesting one. Sometimes you have to fight. You know, sometimes you really have to fight. For the most part, we really try to give the client what they want. You know, we're not trying to take them on some sort of tangent that they didn't really want to do. I speak about giving them something that they never dreamed of, but really what it is we're taking the client's dream and we're elevating it. So we always want to give the client, you know, what they came to us for. You know, if they want 3 beds, we don't want to give them 10. If they want 3, we give them 3. The thing is, a client might ask for something that is, they want a castle in the sky.
Unrealistic.
Unrealistic. Only if it's so unrealistic that we will, you know, we will say no, we don't think that should happen. Or if there are certain constraints. Budget is often a constraint. And if we see a client going in a direction that we know the budget won't take them, we will certainly advise against it and will advise strongly against it. There are times when a client might want to do something in contravention to the standard practice. Let me give you a prime example. We always recommend using engineers. I mean, you can't design something, you can't be putting so much investment in a project. You know, $30 million in a project is not peanuts, I would like to think. And we prefer, as architects, to introduce the proper personnel on the project. And, you know, a client might want to not go that route. They might not want to hire a cost controller. We will always advise for them to do so. We might get some pushback, but again, at the end of the day, the client is who signs the agreement with the different persons, and you know, the only thing we can do is advise if we know it's the right way, if we know that's the way it's supposed to be done.
We take our first break here on Home Sweet Home. More when we return.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to Home Sweet Home. So Sekou, this is now your baby, right?
Yes, yes indeed.
So I wanted to tell me about the project and its amenities, the building. Tell me how it go.
All right, because of the size of the site, it's not too big a land.
Right.
We had to put all the amenities, what were usually in projects on the ground floor, into the building. Right. So we moved the pool, for instance, to the 6th floor, and also added our atrium to the 5th floor. Okay. So we're moving integrated nature into the building all throughout. So from the 5th floor atrium to the 6th floor pool to the green roof where you have a jogging track. The occupants of the building have a wide range of activities to enjoy. Because of the size of the site as well, we had to make sure that enough parking is there for all the units. So we created a basement layer where we can have adequate, at least minimum 2 per unit. There are 80 units in the scheme. And because of that, as I said, where the amenities are inside of the building, the pool on the 6th floor and the atrium, we also have a gym. So you can have exercise not only on the roof, but on that same 6th floor, as well as a convenience store if you don't want to run to the city. So it's an integrated building, one homogeneous system.
This building sounds like it's perfect for me because, well, aside from the fact that I'm integrating in nature, because I don't like lizards. I feel like every time I hear nature, I think insects and...
You can go to the 4th floor. The atrium is not on the 4th floor.
Okay, all right. So I need a floor
perfect for you.
That would, okay, that sounds good. How much of the design was yours and how much of it was the clients? Because I know they would bring their ideas to you and then you guys would do the design. So how does that work?
As Hugo said, it's a dialogue between us and the client. The client gives us the initial pitch and brief on what he wants in the project. For instance, he wanted a jogging trail on the roof.
Right.
So we accommodated the jogging trail on the roof, but we said, why not make it a luxurious experience and push the pool to the roof? So we came up with the amenities what are inside of the building and tying it back to what he initially wanted with the jogging trail. as well as his idea of a green living space.
Right.
An all-in-one building.
Right.
So it's a holistic design. When you say this building is chic, we also want to ease of access into the units, of course. So we have 2 elevators on the flanks of the building. So you can move from the basement where you parked straight to your unit. These are smart elevators. So you have a key and you swipe the key and you will know which floor you're going to.
Oh, nice.
And you can probably stop at the 6th floor. The pool, as I said before, is an infinity edge pool. So you can just look off into the distance to see Kingston Harbor and you want. As well as we try to be energy efficient. So we have solar on the roof, as well as energy efficient utilities like the toilets and lights.
Oh, nice.
The project, as Hugo said, went through different design development stages. This is like the 3rd version of the building that we have, based on what the client requested as well as what the agencies wanted. So there are about 60 pages, 70 pages in the architectural set alone. They also have the engineering set as well as the mechanical set, which have their own equally weighty drawings. So we finish our drawings first, and basically from there they take their drawings and generate their.
So about how long does it take for you to produce this? I know there were several versions before it.
As I said, there are many stages, but the design development stage where we produce the drawings would generally take a month to fully flesh out the building, which goes from plans to the sections of the building, to the elevations and the details of the building, the bathrooms layout, the kitchen layout, the bedroom layout. It's a lot of drawings. There are about 60 drawings in this set alone, and you have to generate the windows and everything. Everything. All details.
Sekou, thank you very much for sharing the technical aspects of the building with us. And now I will join Hugo at 20 South.
The business community has suffered tremendously due to extortion. Some have not just lost their businesses, their jobs, but lost their lives. This is extremely impactful to the growth of our country and to the progress of our people. We are our brother's keeper. Let's put a stop to this. No more use of force. No more use of fear. No more extortion. No more.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Welcome back to Home Sweet Home. Now, if you're just joining us, we're looking at the blueprint for a new development, 20 South. Now, we've just arrived on site and we're going to be doing a short tour with Hugo Matthews, but the project is still in its baby stages, so we're going to try to put things in perspective. All right, so we just got here on site. Explain to me what's what and where everything is.
Okay, sure. All right, so you came in through one of the entries. The site will have 2 entries. So our main entry will be there. So all of this here is a roadway. So what you just came in is roadway number 1, and we lead all the way across roadway number 2. So all of this that you're seeing here, that is the basement, and all of that is basement parking. So the ramp to the basement is on the opposite side.
Right.
Right. So once you come in through this gate,
entrance.
you drive around this driveway, and they have the ramp will be on
the other side.
On the other side. We also have parking at level, and on the opposite side, right, the side facing South Avenue, we have some units on the ground floor and also the entry lobby. So this is the first part of it. We're at first floor, casting the second floor now.
Right. Now, what is your specific role as it relates to this project?
Separate and apart from the architect who designs it, or the technical person who puts the drawings together, what we're talking about now is the contract administration, which is an extremely important part of any development. What that is you are monitoring the construction, you're monitoring the way things come together, and what it really entails is the coordination of all the disciplines. We have many different professionals on this project. We have structural engineers, mechanical engineers, we have the architects, we have subcontractors, we have persons who are providing the data, we have persons who are providing the security, and all of those things have to be coordinated. We have subcontractors who are doing the pool. And what the architect has to do is all of that information must be coordinated. So my prime role on this project as contract administrator is all information, contractors, even the clients must come through, must filter through the architect so that we know exactly what is happening. It is very easy to lose track happens. And if anything happens on site that we need to catch and get a hold of quickly, we need to know. So that one, the drawings can be adjusted. 2, everybody needs to be kept in the loop. Everybody needs to know what is happening. So all information that comes to the architect is filtered out to all the other disciplines, to the clients and everybody involved.
How important is the 3D design to this project? And I know the blueprint is what you really go by, but does the 3D image, which I'm assuming it will eventually get to looking like that, how important is it?
You know, before, the advance of technology, architects would just be with line drawings or hand drawings and hand renders. Now with the increased technology and the machines, we can manage really wonderful 3D drawings, very complex images. That is part of our tool. Now it's as important as our line drawings because the way we communicate with our clients. Not everyone is able to understand a 2D drawing. Not everyone is able to understand a plan or an elevation, which is essentially the look of the building but a flat image of it. With the 3D model, we can put all the information inside of that building. It's what we call building information modeling. And what we do is all the concrete, all the steel, some of the disciplines, they can actually put all of their mechanical information inside the building. We model the entire building, so we actually know what it's going to be before it actually goes down on the ground. So that 3D image that you saw, as simple as you saw it, we could cut sections through the building. We can look at the building in many different ways, and we can really analyze the structure before it actually goes down. So the model is not only good for the client, who can now see the building in its entirety. They can see the materials, they can see how it looks, how it feels. We can put persons in the building and let them walk through it. So you can see all of that as a movie. So you can experience the whole thing before the first stone is turned. So that model is very important to us.
Would you encourage other architects to do high-rise buildings in Kingston now?
Sure. High-rise is the way to go. And there are a number of reasons for that. You can look at this site, it's not very big. Number one, it decreases the cost of the development as a whole because you're able to put more development on a smaller plot of land. So going vertical is certainly the way to go. And another important thing about high-rise and providing housing for persons who need it is you can now build on land which is not set for agriculture. We don't have to expand or green belt. Kingston doesn't have to keep expanding at any alarming rate. We're not trying to get into agricultural lands to do new developments. We can actually, using high-rise buildings, using the technology that we have, we can put more persons
in less space.
In less space.
So tell us about some of the challenges that you've had to overcome on this particular project.
For this particular one, I could give you a couple of examples. Number one, once the drawings are done and we feel it's good and we're ready to go, everything has been quantified. There are times when you have to re-look or revisit a design. Maybe you've done something and you want to change it. One prime example is we wanted a way to give you more head height, give each room a grander feel. And we had to, play with the idea of how is it that we can get rid of the beams. So we had to meet with the engineers, meet with the contractors, and we had to find a way of getting rid of those beams to give us the extra room and the extra feel. We're not lifting the heights of the building, we're just moving some of the beams out of the way. The biggest challenge with this is it's such a tall building and it's so heavy that the engineers as well as the architects, we had to find a compromise as to what beams can stay and what beams can go. And it took a lot of tireless nights to sort of figure it out. So you've been asking me so many questions. If I could ask you one, what are your thoughts on this 20 South development that you're doing here?
I think it's perfect for me. That's what I think. I think the location is good. I'm never too fussy about it being close to a main road. I think that's perfect for my lifestyle. And based on the 3D, rendering? Yes. What is it? I just like aesthetically how it looks. And I think it would be suitable for, the modern working woman like myself. So love it and good job, guys.
Oh, thank you very much.
Well, Hugo, thank you so much for talking to us and bringing us on this construction site. I'm excited to see what 20 South will be. So guys, make sure you look out for 20 South on South Avenue early next year. That's 2018. And that's it for this episode of Home Sweet Home. I've been your host, Candy King.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
We are back with another exciting, innovative, and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we knock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious.
Serious.
Serious about business.
Roper Cup, absolutely supremely important. Two of the greatest schools in Jamaica, meeting, sharing fellowship, always showing the current generation that you can be great rivals off the field, but even better rivals on it, you know. And it's really about us always showing the generations, Georgians, KC, Fortis. It's all about us giving back, all of us being mentors through sports. We always try our best to impart onto the boys values for life. So someone like myself, someone like the KC Old Boys, I'm clearly representing the better side of North Street. And we're really, really close across the road, so might as well continue the tradition and go forward.
The rivalry between KC and St. George's College has been around way longer than I have. Days of Sabina Park, which was kind of in between both schools, where the Royal Battle of North Street always took place. Over time, it lost a little of its flair, but easily we're getting back to those days now. As you see, the interest has grown significantly over the past few years. It is always important that there be harmony between the two schools. This has not always been the case over the years. The Roper Cup is a fun day. The Roper Cup is the day that St. George's College and Kingston College get to have fun in the sun with a competitive edge. It is always a good day. The Manning Cup match is always seen as the feature for the day, although I think the over 35s tend to have more of a competition going on. All the matches, it has been expanded now to include also our under 14 and under 16 teams, so it's an entire day of football. I don't think there are any two schools in the country that can boast the type of rivalry that Kingston College and St. George's College, being only 100 meters apart, can boast. It is always good competition, it is always fun, not only for the footballers but for us, the old boys, as well.
It is indeed my honor and my pleasure to welcome you to this media launch of Roper Cup 2019. This competition between Kingston College and St. George's College, North Street rivals and friends. With Kingston College hosting this year, a very special welcome to my colleagues from across the road. At this time though, I would like to call upon Mr. Stuart Jacobs, who is the president of the Kingston College PTA, to bring greetings from the Fortis family to everyone here.
A very good morning. It is once again a pleasure to stand there and bring greetings on behalf of KC to usher in another Roper Cup. In total, 37 Manning Cup have been won between Kingston College and St. George's College, 37. When you look at it, a quick math, it's close to a third of all the Manning Cups that have been played. And it is also, it's going to be somewhat of a phenomenon on Saturday, because the two finalists of last year's Manning Cup will be playing, basically opening the football season. Because with all of the other cups that have gone on over the summer, it is the Roper Cup that really kicks off the schoolboy football in Jamaica. No other event. I look around and I see people who have worked very hard and they have extended themselves as parents at both schools. Look at Mr. Latour, Donovan Germain, even Patrick Dallas. A lot of us, even Patrick Dallas, Dr. Foot, extended up ourselves as parents. And it is events such as these that we live for. We live for these moments because it is where we sit and watch our youngsters do the things that God has entrusted on them, which is called talent. Also, in order for them to do it, they would have to have coaches who we as parents trust to hone these talents. And by extension, a school will send them to have it happen. It just happened that Father Jack Roper, a Jesuit priest, coach at St. George's College, did extremely well and carried George's to a couple championship, and that school and KC came together and said, let's recognize him. And I asked it last year, and I'm going to challenge my Georgians to find, I did find someone who is still alive, who is related to Father Jack Roper, because posthumously, I think he should be honored next year when Georges host it. Because we use his name every year, and a lot of people, I know a lot of the players who are playing don't know who Father Jack Roper is. Father Jack Roper was a wonderful human being and did quite a bit at St. George's College, and for football in Jamaica, and for North Street. And speaking of North Street, I would like for us to do some sort of research, somewhat, to see which street in this country or anywhere else has produced the amount of sportsmen and superstars, both academia and on the track and on the field, than North Street. Less than 200 meters apart. And Kingston College and St. George's College have contributed so much to the landscape of this country. It's unbelievable. We will forever be grateful to St. George's College. And Kingston College, are speaking from the KC family, we will forever be grateful to St. George's College. Because out of St. George's College and the teaching of the Jesuits there, Bishop Gibson was honed and developed. But I guess after going to George's for 8 years, 7 years, you realize that Jamaica really needed another school, a real school. But on a serious note, we are always neighbors, we're always brothers, and we'll never ever forget what St. George's College has done for us. The Roper Cup does that each year. The Roper Cup takes us back in time. The Roper Cup brings us to a humility, a humble state, that regardless of the rivalry that we will have in the next couple of months for the Manning Cup, we will meet on a day and have friendly rivalry, and both schools will look at each other, the under 16, the under 14, and the present Manning Cup, and under 25 and over 35, and look at the past and enjoy it and appreciate it, and look at what is happening now, and hope that two schools will once again be in the finals at the Manning Cup. I wish for both schools all the best. I wish for the Roper Cup committee all the best, and from the parents of KC and the KC family, we are more than happy to host you on the day and look forward to a wonderful event. I thank you.
The business community has suffered tremendously due to extortion. Some have not just lost their businesses, their jobs, but lost their lives. This is extremely impactful to the growth of our country and to the progress of our people. We are our brother's keeper. Let's put a stop to this. No more use of force. No more use of fear. No more extortion. No more.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
principal sends her apologies. Unfortunately, she was unable to attend. Boy, so far so good. We've had such great deliveries from the Fortis Brethren, so we need to add some color to the proceedings right now. Right, so this year is an important year for St. George's. We celebrate 170 years of existence of our schools. I mean, Casey should know that very well, because Casey is half as young and half as good. So you should know that it's 170 years for us, you know. Now, also, on October the 18th, we celebrate our Monsignor Gladstone Wilson Awards. And for those of you who don't know, Monsignor Gladstone Wilson was, at the time of his being around on earth, one of the 7 most learned persons in the world, a Jamaican, a man of North Street, yeah? Definitely, we need to always celebrate that. So it is important, as Brother Jacob said, well, he said that, you know, we are going to be in the final, you know, so we hope that you come join us again like last year. I mean, so ladies and gentlemen, we always look forward to Roper Cup. It's a teaching moment for us where we can always show the young men that regardless of the banter, regardless of whatever we may say along the way, it really is about friendly rivalry and camaraderie. We know that persons traditionally don't attend St. George's College, don't attend KC, but they say, boy, KC is them side or George is them side. Because they wish they could be like us. They want to be a part of us, so we definitely look forward to Roper Cup to continually show the wider Jamaica what it is to be, you know, a man for others, you know, never yielding, always being a Jamaican and living forward as a true testament of what we should do. So I thank you for having us. I thank you for being great hosts, of course. The Roper Cup is on top of our cabinet over by St. George's. I'll dust it off a bit and I'll put it back after the matches on the Saturday. All right, so cheers to all.
This bug of fake news has got to Jamaica. It has got here because if the Roper Cup trophy is at St. George's, when I leave here, I need to stop at Halfway Tree Police Station. But I think what might have happened, I remember there's a time, I think it was 2 years ago, we shared the trophy. And it was agreed that St. George's would keep it for 6 months and KC for 6 months. We said to George's, since we know that next year we're going to take it anywhere, so George's, please, you can keep it for the first 6 months. Bring it to us, right? And what has happened is that they did not bring it back, but I would have thought that Bishop Gibson, just Bishop Gibson's legacy, would have spared you from speaking like that this morning. Well, anyway, please polish it off. Yes, thank you. Right. And now to bring greetings and a message from the principal of Kingston College. Representing here this morning is Ainsworth Walker, our vice principal.
Good morning, all. Coming from the other side of North Street, I think I'm in a very good position to bring the message of Kingston College that will balance the rivalry that will make us all equal. You get that? It is indeed our hope that we will retain the excellent performance bestowed upon us from Bishop Gibson's days into today's finals. And so from the family of Kingston College and especially the principal, it is our hope that this year will be no different from next year. And so when the dust is settled and the trophy is returned from Roper Cup to Manning Cup, then Mr. Latour, you will have nothing to fear. Ladies and gentlemen, On behalf of the principal of Kingston College, teachers, staff, and students, we're looking forward to a game that will bring us together and a future that we will all talk about. Thank you.
And now may I call upon the president of the St. George's College Old Boys Association to bring his greetings.
Thank you, Dr. Dallas. Distinguished Fortis and my St. George's College brethren, good morning. This never gets boring. Every year we gather for the Roper Cup. It is fun, it is very serious rivalry, and I think Dr. Dallas made a very bold statement last year, which, by the grace of God, came true. The collaboration between Casey and St. George's College. Yes, Dr. Dallas? Yes, sir. Take a bow. Very bold at the time. Almost arrogant, I thought. Almost arrogant. However, like I said, it is what it is. After 32. But now that we've addressed the elephant in the room, now that the dust has settled, Roper Cup, year 1, Casey and St. George's College. I think probably the first time ever that it would be considered a grudge match. Yes? So not that we don't always have excellent football and even more camaraderie. When Casey hosts, for sure, refreshments are always on top. Of that we are sure. But more importantly, we've seen this year where the collaboration has expanded. I think this year, for the first time, we hosted a Labor Day project together as well, where we did the pedestrian crossings in front of both schools. So this is the type of camaraderie and harmony that we want everybody to emulate, because it really is important, given the ills that we see in our society today. So, Stadium East it is, Roper Cup for yet another year. It's almost cliche that we say we look forward to the camaraderie. And of course, this year in particular, Shantamoy, Nathaniel, Jaim. For this year in particular, extremely strong competition.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, Fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands! Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
We are serious about the business of real estate, so catch Home Sweet Home Sundays at 4:30 p.m. or if you missed it, check our website at batvja.com.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
It is indeed a pleasure to be here. I'm asked to make a presentation on behalf of the President. One of the things I'm happy for is that on previous occasions, I was normally introduced as the President, but thank God it has been corrected that I'm in fact the Vice President. I'm a bit nostalgic in that when I look in the audience and I see Neville Oxford, it brings back great memories to me because I was much younger than Neville, as you can see. But the history of that year's Manny Cup team with Neville, John Parvis, Mouse Brown, Bola Morant, and the rest, it has been great joy to me. because the rivalry from then was even strong and still strong. But ladies and gentlemen, after the match is over, we are great friends. And I really want to say to the youngsters now, please just remember that it is like that, and I want it to continue. Great rivalry on the field, but when the match is over, we are great friends. As I said, I was asked to deliver a message on behalf of the president, which goes like this. Last year, RoboCup was a fantastic celebration for the North Street fans. It was a fantastic celebration of friendly rivalry and a feast of football talent, young and not so young talent. Of course, KC took home the RoboCup. We know that the Georgians are trying their utmost to regain the cup this year, but they can think again. However, RoboCup will remain on the right side of North Street. His words. Once again, KC is pleased to be the host of the RoboCup, thanks to our North Street brothers for hosting a great event last year. This year we will be at Stadium East, a fitting venue, especially for feature match between the Manning Cup teams, a replay of last year's Manning Cup final. It is also a preview of this year's Super Cup, Walker Cup, and Manning Cup finals. After all, we are looking to keep them all at North Street. The executive of the Old Boys is pleased to host this year's World Cup celebrations that provides an opportunity to deepen bonds and collaboration with our North Street neighbors, with whom we have a great history of competition and collaboration. We continue to demonstrate our ability to be rivals and friends at the same time. Importantly, thanks to our sponsors, as without you, the event would not be possible. Thank you for your support and example. RoboCup 2019 will be exciting and spectacular, and KCOB is proud to be at the helm of this amazing event. That is the message from the president of the Old Boys Association.
We have the under-14 match, Kingston College versus St. George's College. We also have the under-16 Kingston College versus St. George's. The under-35 and the over-35, of course, those have to be Old Boys because we're talking about Kingston College and St. George's. Then we have the feature match, which is the replay of last year Manning Cup final. The gates open at 9. We start the first match at 10. And we are going to run a tight ship this year because we have decided that the last match, the feature match, must start at 4:30. Understand, the football program in both schools costs a lot of money. The sports program in general. And this is always, most of it is carried by the alumni associations. And so we are trying to get this started at 4:30 so that we can finish the match in good time and everybody see a full 90 minutes of Kingston College Manning Cup team versus St. George's College. But at this time, I would like to call on Mr. Robert O'Sullivan to bring a message on behalf of the sponsors.
Thank you, Patrick. There are 4 main sponsors that I'd like to thank. One is Facial Oral Surgical Association. Lasco, they've donated iCool. Servicare Limited, and apologies for absence, Gary O'Sullivan was unable to make it. Now, just to let you know, Servicare is less than 200 meters across the road there, and it was started by a St. George's College old boy by the name of Gary O'Sullivan. Now, when I was 11 years old, a friend of my mother said, so one of your sons passed for an academic institution and the other a sporting institution. Well, after a few years in the 60s, I couldn't understand why they referred to St. George's as a sporting institution. You know, it is good that corporate Jamaica can come together and assist in the development of young boys. It is so important. As a Kingston College old boy, I feel it important that as we leave school, we try to give back. And this to me is a message to the young boys who are from St. George's College and also from Kingston College. Now, I grew up with a rivalry for over 7 years between my brother from St. George's College, and he felt that I owed him a debt of gratitude because Bishop Gibson founded Kingston College. I had to live with that. But I do have some gratitude, and we have to accept that both institutions are important in Jamaica. A lot of my friends come from St. George's College as well, and we get along fairly well. Now, the sponsor, Facial and Oral Surgical Association, I understand that one of the members is also a Kingston College old boy. And one is a Georgian as well? Yes. So thank you for helping with the young ones. Now, LASCO, of course, is a competitor to Qualcare. But in the same way that St. George's College and Kingston College have friendly rivalry, it is the same between ourselves. Now, as principal, it's a message from Principal Myrie, so correctly noted, extracurricular involvement, like football, go a far way in the development of young boys. It helps them not only in their physical development, but in their ability to analyze and come up with solutions. Now, in addition to that, I think it helps to build character, leadership, because at the end of the day, you want a well-rounded individual, not one who only goes to a sporting institution, but also academic. So again, on behalf of LASCO, Facial and Oral Surgical Associates, Servicare and Qualcare, greetings, and all the best for the Roper Cup.
Being a part of this program is excellent for us because we're all about youth development, growth, and so we're all about going out, helping youths make their dreams come true and everything. And I mean, we're a fan of what KC has been doing, what St. George's has been doing with football and helping the young men do something with their lives. So we're all about helping. So we're here to sponsor.
For this Roper Cup, we want to make sure that everybody, their nutrition status is up and they're feeling fit as a fiddle. So just to make sure that they have no pains or no aches, we have our VitaloFlex will be, of course, persons will be getting, so to ease the pain, whatever it is from a sprain, whether it be just muscle spasms, they'll be able to utilize our VitaloFlex for that. No excessive burning, that's a lot of persons complain about, but they'll still get that nice feel and the relief from the pain, as well as our Interest Nutrition Shake. So we make sure that their nutrition status is up. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that everybody, they play well and their bodies are able to, you know, reflect everything that they have been consuming. So Interest being the nutrition shake of choice is for athletes for this Roper Cup. So their nutrition up, health up, energy up, everything up. All of it, Interest.
Why have we supported the Roper Cup over the years? It's a mixture of values that we endorse, traditional values. For one, tradition. It's the oldest running rivalry between schoolboys, the football, started in 1963. And it's important for us to recognize traditional values with what all that is happening around us. Virtue, honesty, truth and justice. Apart from the good quality football that is played, those two institutions from North Street, Kingston College and St. George's, we uphold those ideals, and over the years we have tried to transmit those qualities to the students coming in and out. So in addition to good quality football, which others are trying to emulate, but we are the originators and we'll always be the leaders. But in addition to good football and healthy sporting rivalry, we transmit those values which we hope will further itself into the wider society and build a good society.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective
effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
I'm Butch Hendrickson. You're watching BATV, serious about business.
My name is Herbert Chung, Executive Chairman, Honeybun 1982 Limited, co-founder.
I'm Michelle Chung, CEO of Honeybun. Well, Michelle Chung is first and foremost a Christian, and of course we always give that first. And then wife of Herbert Chung, who is my partner in the business, and we have 4 children. So those are the things that first of all define me. I'm from Kingston. I was born in Kingston. I grew up in Kingston, and I went to Mona Preparatory School. I then went to St. Peter and Paul High School, which is now Campion. A lot of people nowadays don't know that, but at that time it was a girls' school. I remember myself as being a quiet person, very quiet. I always wanted to be a teacher, always wanted to be a teacher. In fact, when I came into the business, I recognized that I can teach her too, so that made it good for me. I have 3 sisters, and when I was about 15, I have a brother. So my brother was born at that age, and my sisters and I were regular family. Mother and father were there. My 2 grandfathers are from China, actually, and my 2 grandmothers are Jamaican, mixed to Jamaican. So it makes me very mixed. When my brother was born, I was 14 years older than him, and I took on a very motherly role. So that was inherent in me. I think the whole teacher and mother thing were significant in my childhood.
I was born in Westmoreland, which is, at then was really a lovely parish. It was like maybe a Peyton place. You're really, rich in the sense of growing up with a lot of friends and people around you, and out there was really, it was the farming belt, sugar estate belt, so you had a lot of all different kind of people you grew up with. It was far from school as how my parents wanted their children to go to school, because apparently, I don't know what they had in their mind, but I'm from a family of 7, and apparently my parents wanted all 7 to be at 7 different schools all over the island, so it was, and I ended up had to come to Kingston. I went to Campion College, and at that time, Campion College was a private school, just being adopted in the government system, but you still had to do another exam, even though you passing for government scholarship, that a government aided scholarship, but you had to do another exam to enter Campion too at the time. I remember independence. Independence stand out quite a bit for me because my mother was involved a lot with independence, and I remember, I don't know if you know that Great George Street in Sablamar. If you know the street, if you've been there, was supposed to have been the widest and largest street in Jamaica, even bigger than King Street, as though King Street name says King, but Great George Street was actually supposed to be the biggest street in Jamaica. So, and I remember that street being decorated with banners and flags and things like that, that took months to really sew them, because, you know, yeah. And my mom was a big part of that.
One moment from my childhood that really stands out was my understanding of poverty. I remember there was a lady who came to our gate. I was quite young at the time, and she was begging money. And it was kind of like a first experience of someone really in need, because I didn't grow up in a situation where I was surrounded by very poor people. And I really had a lot of compassion for her. And I remember I went and I gave her almost all my savings at the time. So it has stayed with me all this time. And I think maybe I always think that that's where my blessings come from. So that moment stands out. I lived in Canada for about 5 years, going to university there, where I studied psychology and studied math as a minor. Being in a Canadian environment was new, cold, very cold. Dying to come home, standing at that bus stop every day waiting on the bus was difficult. But it gave me a sense of understanding global concepts about transportation, order, business systems. I did a temp job, which included working in the hospitals, working in the banking industry. So I got a number of different experiences working in different places, which really benefited me.
After camping, I went to, CAS, which is now UTEC, and I was in construction. Started business, but my family was in also construction, so I figured that maybe best someone knew something about construction, so I went over to construction. And then after 2 years of that, going into the third year, the exodus or migration started, that I had to go. And the one-way ticket is a serious one-way ticket. There's no ticket coming back. You know you're leaving and you're not coming back. That's what it was like. So maybe one day, I don't know if it ever happened, that you have to buy a ticket when you're traveling and you buy a one-way ticket and know that wherever you end up there, that's where you're going, you're not coming back. I mean, maybe for holidays, yes, but yes, migration is something, although it's a great experience, that it's something that has maybe helped mold me as a person too also. But it's like a whole, it's like a degree, a university degree, how to do it, you know. It's hard. You're growing up with all your friends, you know, and then you just have to just pick up and leave. Going to Canada was a whole new ball game of experience for me, because I took on a lot of responsibility going to Canada, a lot.
Great design is not only how things look, but also how well they work. The GLC, more than meets the eye.
Going to Canada was a whole new ball game of experience for me. Like we had to stop in Miami first, and buying some clothes when I don't know how cold Canada was going to be. And then reaching Canada is something else again, you know, where it was just myself and my brother, who were not married at the time. And the usual Chinese custom is when the parents or family is moving, who is not married, they usually, you know, migrate or go with the family. Everybody else had their own priorities in terms of their family. So going to Canada still, you know, was a big experience for me. And it has, I think it has made me who I am still. Because I took on a lot of responsibility going to Canada. A lot. Mrs. Chung came into my life at a very sad and opportune time for me still, you know, because I met Mrs. Chung after my father died, about 2 or 3 months after. And my father and myself were there. I mean, you know, I really got close to my parents and my father, you know, for the time I've been in Canada. And he used to help me with I had a business there also. You know, he used to help me quite a bit. And when he died, I decided I'm going to have to, this is enough for me, you know. I have done what I have to do for my family and move on. And I was taking a break when I met Mrs. Chung. It's about taking a break in the sense that I wanted to give up what I was doing and start a whole new life, you know. So, yeah, that's when I met Mrs. Chung. So it was an opportune time for me meeting somebody like that.
So here were these 2 Jamaicans in Canada, and we met. And after a while, he decided he wanted to come back home.
I had to come back to Jamaica, and she was there for a while. And then after I realized that, yes, it's time, you know, spending enough time in Canada, almost 8-10 years up there, and decided that Jamaica is where I wanted to come back. And when I left, and those years, you know, there's no text and write, and there was a phone call, but they were very expensive in those times, so we had to write letters. So I decided that I had to get on a plane and go do what I had to do, and decided to tell her that I'm coming back, I am back there for her.
When I returned to Jamaica, my husband and I both returned to Jamaica. We weren't married as yet, but before we were married, I taught at Campion College. For a very short time, I taught math. I absolutely loved that period of my life when I was teaching. I was teaching 2nd and 3rd form math, and it was very rewarding. It was during my teaching years that my husband and I purchased Honeybun, and we started to manage it, so I had to leave my teaching job.
So after I decided that we're coming back to Jamaica to live, well, a lot of people have always asked me to start a pizza business because pizza was very new to Jamaica at that time, you know. I think I came back just before Shakey's started. It was another franchise that came here. But so I knew the pizza business. Honeybun was a pizza place at the time. We sell quite a bit of pizzas. So I looked into the company. Well, I also knew the people who had owned the company, and they had a number of companies that they were working with, and I think they were just a little tired of Honeybun because it takes a lot of hands-on work to be there all the time, you know. So how it got started is when I came back, got married, and then my wife was teaching at the time. So I did what I had to do in terms of loans and everything, and got myself together and purchased the company.
So we bought Honeybun, borrowed some money, bought Honeybun, and at the time he said he needed me to come and work in the business, and you know, the natural Chinese Jamaican, that's a natural progression. So we were both working in Honeybun. And the thing about it that was very interesting at the time was we discovered that we had a very different approach to how to manage the business. So it was at that time that we kind of separated and joined together and conquered, because he used his strengths and I used mine. And thank God they were different, because I think that has contributed a lot to our success. I had a lot to learn in a very short period of time. I remember going to my accountant and learning how to write up cash books, manual cash books. Now we have Quicken and we have all sorts of accounting systems. Do the payroll. So those were challenges in and of themselves. But I always loved math, so they weren't too much of a challenge. And there were just several challenges. I remember one day we took an order for a wedding cake and the decorator resigned just before the wedding, and I had to learn quick, just like Matrix, quick, how to decorate wedding cakes. So there were lots of challenges wearing different hats. You had to be everything in this new business. You weren't like the accountant for the business, you were just everything for that new business. You had to know how to make the pastries, manage staff, you had to learn about the equipment, so it was a lot. It was a lot.
It was some of the biggest challenges from the time of Honeybun. Myself and my wife having Honeybun is finding a home. We have always rented place, and every time we rent and we start to settle in, we have to move. So it took us, I would say, it took us maybe 20 years before we could, 20-something years before we could buy our own place. And you know, we always keep on renting and moving, and we always have to move. Something happening where the people need a place. But that has always been a major challenge for us, you know, having a home. Now it's a little different now. We have found a home. You know, when we just got this company, I had some family in England who, I remember he was telling me, and he was quite a bit of a marketer in England at the time, and he said, well, the name is such a nice name, you know. Sometimes I feel the name is sort of soft in the sense that honey and bun, but let me tell you, the company, it has grown in the sense that it's a household name as it is now, and we really have worked on it. The entire family has worked on it.
Honeybun is truly now a family business. It started off as a family business with my husband and I, but our daughter worked in the business in marketing for several years. That's Crystal Chung. And now 2 of my sons work in the business. One manages operation and the other one manages distribution and sales. And they are very different. They have very different skills again. So that also helps the business a lot. What I do hear a lot from our workers is that they feel like this is a family. They feel a part of the family. You have some workers who they call Chung. So it's a family business, not only for the children working in the business, but I think there's a family feel here all the time. And we enjoy that, and we've really hung on to the hope that as the business grows, the culture remains. And it has. I challenge you to ask some of the workers. It's still a very family feel. The first obvious thing that a family business contributes is succession and succession planning. So you have children who grew up in the business. I remember at 12, some of my children had to come down here when we just put in a night shift, and I was like, okay, now we need you to make donuts, you know, and they never forgot it because they were like, really? It's like, yes. The staff didn't want to start working on night shift. It was new. Not many companies in Jamaica were doing it, but we had to increase our capacity based on our demand, and the children, we rounded them up, we rounded up some of their friends. So they have been integrated in every aspect of the business, and unlike me, they won't have to learn everything from scratch when they're in their early 20s. So the succession planning is a significant part of it. What they can take for granted, knowing in the business, someone else can't take it for granted. They also have been a part of very high-level business meetings that they would not have had the opportunity to be involved with working in another company. So we're not trying to indicate that they must be the future leaders of the business, but they know that's a real option for them. And then when the company went public, it was also a part of succession planning, because it is a lot better to have sound governance and a formal board in a business for it to survive than to just have children who may make up new rules and have different policies that they want to change. So the business of the family in a structured business has been tremendous for us, and it will carry us far in the future. What drives me? has a lot to do with being very focused. If you ask people who know me, I'm very focused. I have a dream and it's like I don't sleep.
Do you want more experience from your SUV? Introducing the 2020 Nissan X-Trail with leading-edge technology, intelligent ride and chassis control, a round view monitor, and hill start assist for confidence behind the wheel. Plus, auto headlights and panoramic sunroof. Drive the SUV with more experience. The Nissan X-Trail, available today at Fidelity Motors.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
The proudest I've been at the company, I would say twofold, in the sense that when we bought our first property for the factory, that's one, and also when we went on the stock market. I was a little nervous at the time because, you know, you sort of, when you're on the stock exchange, you know, like I say, your books are open and everything, but we being, the family being upfront with everything, we didn't think about that anymore. We just went forward, and it has been very good for us in terms of branding and the rest of, you know, the exposure we have gotten and things. And you never believe how much things happen, you know. Banks call, no, before you used to call a bank, banks are calling you now to lend you money and things like that, you know. So it's a little different.
What drives me has a lot to do with being very focused. If you ask people who know me, I'm very focused. I have a dream and it's like I don't sleep. I just need to keep dreaming and finding the ways in which to accomplish my dreams. And sometimes I have to shuffle and come again. So I'm always motivated because I'm always focused on the big picture, always.
To see the family getting together, and not only the family, but the people at work who every day they see you and we talk and we you know, just moving around them and seeing that their livelihood, they have a livelihood too. They can go home and they can you know, they have a job. And you know, the company growing in the sense that sales and everything else growing with the company. That drives me quite a bit.
I've probably gotten a lot of advice, but I'm also told I'm a little bit stubborn. So while I carry the advice within me and live it, I don't remember exactly what it is. But I think one of the things that I have always worked with is, one of the advice I gave myself during challenging time was what I term C2O, challenges to opportunity. Every time you have a challenge, just convert it into an opportunity. And so it really helps me every time I'm challenged, whether it's physical, mentally, spiritual. I always try to look at challenges as if I can get around this, I can be at another level.
Well, there's one particular one, but you know, and actually too is my father-in-law who said it to me. And he always saying, you know, say, walk for nothing better than sit down for nothing. And I a number of times that I'm at home and I get up and go somewhere or do some things. A deal come up or something happens where you can advance yourself in life. So you know, sometimes in the sense that in Jamaican terms, you know, don't sit around. If you can maybe go somewhere with somebody that you're not going to make any money, but something can happen in your favor. if you don't have health, you make yourself comfortable, but not extravagant.
Wealth means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but the first thing that comes to my mind when I hear about wealth is wisdom. I think wealth is wisdom because if you have money and you have no wisdom, you can easily lose it. So, in the Bible, Solomon's gift was wisdom, and with wisdom you can earn a lot of money. So that's one thing. But wealth also engages how you use your money, what you use it for. And to me, wealth is not necessarily material. Wealth is about being able to do the things you would like to do, but also to make other people's life more comfortable. So many times you would love to be able to help people more, but you say, oh boy, you don't have the cash to do it. I'd love to be able to have enough cash to help people as I go along, to make my life comfortable naturally, and to be able to have a more meaningful workplace for my employees in terms of their well-being. So that's what wealth means to me.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange wishes to help to develop the social sector. To that end, they have formed the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, which is a safe, efficient, and transparent platform that aims to promote social projects that build Jamaica and will inure to the benefit of all persons living in the country.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange is a company that encourages and mobilizes capital for the main market. And that is the market that is not the social sector. Now, the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange is really geared towards the social sector to help to solve social problems in the field of health, education, about children, environment. Those are some of the things that we consider social problems. And so it is to mobilize the capital, allow persons who have a desire to invest in a social good, to invest in the social stock exchange. It is designed in two parts. In phase one, where we look at social investment, and phase two, where we look at social impact investment. Now in phase one, really what we are saying is, it is donation. An organization will have a social issue and design it into a project or a program and invite Jamaicans or persons within the diaspora or the entire world to fund this program. Now in phase two, you're going to get a return on investment which is not social. You will be getting shares, natural shares, as you would get if you invested in the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And what you'll get is a return on capital, which is possibly dividend or an appreciation in that share. The Jamaica Social Stock Exchange does more than ask for the funding of these programs, but goes beyond that in terms of monitoring, ensuring that these programs are meeting the targets and the reason for them to have asked for funding in the first place. When we look at this new sector, it is important because holistically, if you do not look on the social sector, you do not improve the other sectors. We want to encourage all businesses in Jamaica to have a corporate social responsibility because it is good for encouraging and the growth and development of businesses.
Nestled in the city of Montego Bay in St. James is the Open Heart Charitable Mission, which takes care of the homeless and the mentally ill.
Basically, Open Heart Charitable Mission started as a vision for myself in giving back. We came to Montego Bay because we saw the need of the homeless population and situation and the street people program. And after seeing the incident in 1990 when the street persons were trucked to St. Elizabeth and dumped, it weighed heavy on me. And so I had a vision of doing a soup kitchen in Montego Bay. And it has blossomed into more than a soup kitchen now because we have joined with the St. James Parish Council and signed a memorandum of understanding. So we kind of work together. They supply certain things and we run the program pretty much under the eyes of the Poor Relief Department and the St. James Parish Council. So we all work together, basically trying to improve the lives of the homeless and street people of St. James, Montego Bay, and also the wider Jamaica. It's very interesting with homeless people. They're well organized, as people may not think. We have had people who have come all the way from Kingston because they have heard of our organization and our program to get into our program. So, they're well organized, they communicate with one another, so they hear the type of service that we have here at Open Heart, and they come, get their meals, they get the services that we offer here, the rehabilitation program, and so they just come. We get referrals from the Poor Relief Department, referrals from the hospital, the Cornwall Regional, and so we try to service. We don't turn anybody away. If you're hungry, even if you're not homeless, we'll try and accommodate something for you, so you'll have something to eat. But we generally do not turn away anyone if they come for food and service. We have a rehabilitation program. Our program is 6 months long, once you have been accepted. And it constitutes, we have a farm up in Seaford Town where we do an agriculture program. We have a farmhouse where the clients live, work there, and we try and give them a little stipend. And that program is really to get them off of the streets in a confined area under structure kind of living, because when they're on the street there's no structure, so we're trying to bring that in their lives. My message basically is that we're one blood. God created us all, right? And take an interest in the street people and homeless. Take an interest. They're Jamaicans, right? And they need help. They really do need help. The charities around Jamaica really do need help. And a lot of them are doing wonderful work, and there was a saying in Jamaica, it takes cash to care, but it doesn't really take cash to care. It takes compassion, and understand how fortunate you are to be, how blessed you are. But for the grace of God, you're not like them. And just thank God for that. And remember, it could happen to your brother, your sister, your mom, or your dad. And would you want anyone to abuse them like that if they're caught in a situation like that of being on the street? No. And so let's try and be our brother's keeper.
Karen Cameron is the office manager, and she ensures that the clients are given proper care.
Our main goal is to get as much people off the street as possible. So, and the clients look out for each other. So we get a lot of new persons every day. We see new people every day. So when we say, oh, did you hear about us? They'll say, oh, I saw a street person. They said, this is where you have to be. So they look out for each other. If we don't see somebody 2-3 days in a row, we'll say, what happened to Roy? What happened to Bob? And they'll say, oh, somebody hit him and he had to go to the hospital. So if you need to know anything about the clients, you ask a client. I think here really shows you what life is about and actually gets you to become humble. So you don't hold on to material things because we have seen that it don't last. So throughout the years, I have grown to love the people. I see them on the street. Before, honestly, I was afraid of mad people. That's what but no, you can't say mad people. They're mentally ill. So I think that actually helped me to grow as a person. So I see them on the street, they come and hug me up, and they'll be dirty, and I don't care. They come around, and I make sure that they come around and get the shower. So I feel really safe on the street now, and I see them, and I see where they're coming from, and I see where they're going. Because if you don't have a goal for them, and then tell them, this is what I see you're doing, sometimes they just need somebody to just believe in them. So usually what we do, we choose, when we see new clients, we'll say, all right, this is my project. And then we ask them, what are you interested in? And if they're interested in painting, we ask donation and tell them to come down here and paint. We go out and find jobs for them. In the bakeries, on construction sites, we talk to people and we get jobs for them. Even if it's not like permanent, we try and make sure that they're doing something. My message to people that overlook homeless on the street, open your eyes. This can be your brother, your sister, your mother, just laying on the road. So you have to open your eyes. I'm not saying you have to give them money, but even to buy a patty and a box drink, they will appreciate it. So you just have to open your eyes and see them, not just pass them and just cross the street. Just open your eyes.
Coming up on Caring Hands.
We appreciate when people come in and interact with them. I think interaction is the main thing because, as I said, people don't open their eyes and see them on the street.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
The Open Heart charitable mission encourages volunteers to assist in any way possible.
We appreciate when people come in and interact with them. I think interaction is the main thing because, as I said, people don't open their eyes and see them on the street. So when they come here, they expect us to, they're looking forward to us to talk to them, find out how their night was. Something as simple as finding out how their day is going or how their night was makes a big difference to them. So we love when volunteers come here and interact with the clients.
Delroy Denton is a former client at the Open Heart Charitable Mission who now volunteers and mentors the homeless, along with Georgette McNeil, another one of several volunteers.
I heard about them through gathering information, but before you put your head in anything, you need to get as much information as possible. So when I do hear about Open Heart Charitable Mission in Montego Bay, from a friend, I decided say I should come here and investigate for myself and see what it is like. And what I did saw, I was impressed. So I decided to be a part of that. Be a part of caring for people, do something charitable. Because it's not about money or getting paid. It's about helping people. Do what you can for people, the most vulnerable, those who are less unfortunate than us and stuff like that. So, yeah, I was really touched by the mission's goals and objectives.
I do everything. Yeah, I'm a round-the-clock girl. Yes, and I get involved through NODM. It's another part of our organization in Kingston. So fill some time here. Just come here and volunteer. Really, it's good because I don't make anything bothers me. Because we're all human beings, and if you're in something, you have to love it. Honestly, you have to love it. So if you see something in you or somebody you know you can help and assist, give them a bath, make sure they're clean, and prepare their meals and help them, have fun with them, react with them, see what they're made of. What can you do to change their day? Because some of them don't have a really good day at times, but by talking to them, they ask you a question, you can answer them, in a different form, and you don't be arrogant at them. Just be nice to them.
Sometimes when you say you can make another person smile, even when you look at their situation and their circumstances, and you see that you can make them smile, you can make them feel special, you can make them feel wanted, and you have to show them respect and love, because if it doesn't have love, you can't give it to anybody. So when you can make them smile, or you listen to them, listen to the issues that they have, the social issues, and you can make a difference by just advising them and encouraging them. It's just a good feeling, not just for myself, but just see that smile on their face, to know that somebody can reach out to them, somebody who have been there, will know what it is like. You understand me? So I enjoy doing that, because with the Open Heart Charitable Mission, we have a mentoring system going on, and I am their mentor now. You understand me? So I'm doing a mentorship program with them. You sit with them, you talk, you even eat with them. So you make them know, say, boy, it's not them alone I eat the food. You sit down and you eat the same food that they eat. Make them know them worth something, and try to lift their self-esteem. Make them know, say, they are not worthless. All is not gone. There's still hopes. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Because some of them understand that they can listen, because if you reason with them, you come to realize how intelligent they are. Because they have good intellectual ability. But you can know that, or discover that, if you speak to them. Because if you keep shunning them away, you won't learn their fears and concern. So somebody got to do it. Somebody has to do it. Because at the end of the day, that's what God wants. Because He gives us this sense of direction. He gives us this knowledge where we can go out. You understand me? And interact with the most vulnerable in our society. Yes, so all people shun them. Sometimes we get angry with them too, to be honest, and say they get so much trouble. But we still listen to them. We still feed them. They come and they want a piece of bread. They come late when food finish. They come late with everything. And even though, but we still have to, reach out to them. We still have to feed them. Because we have to look after them. That's what Open Heart Charitable Mission is about. Look after those that, vulnerable in society. When everybody turn their back at them, we can't do that. We have to listen to them and help them as much as we can under the circumstances.
As a society, you get more church come together. More business people come together. It's not about you. It's about us. Putting ourselves in their shoe and think, what may happen to me further down the line? You have to place yourself in so many different ways. So at times I think churches, groups, you just have to put that boundary there to see what really can be done for them.
Coming up on Caring Hands.
When some of these cases comes to my attention, it really plays a great impact on me, knowing that it could be one of mine.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
The Open Heart Charitable Mission Refuge of Hope Night Shelter is located in Albion, where up to 50 men and 30 women are accommodated. Tamika Whitaker, the shelter manager at Refuge of Hope, oversees the day-to-day running of the shelter. She also monitors the clients at the shelter.
With persons with various personalities and so it can be a challenge. But, you know, with training and stuff to know how to handle conflicts, etc., we care for the mentally ill, persons who are pure homeless. We have deportees from time to time, yes. And being in this organization, Institution the Refuge of Hope, we do offer a rehabilitation program, yes. So with this rehabilitation program, it does entails we do the chicken rearing. We try to get them to do life skills for reintegration and assimilation into our society. Our rehabilitation program, we do have the chicken rearing, we have sewing, we have a literacy program, and also we do art and crafts. From time to time, we do get referrals from the hospital, we get referral from the airport. We also care for stranded international visitor. For example, an international visitor would be in Jamaica stranded, don't have enough money, etc. The immigration or the police would refer them here. They stay over until their flights schedule or whatever their situation be resolved and sorted, and then they would go out. What we also do here on a monthly basis, we do an analysis, monthly analysis, to see where a client is at. So I set up a library and encourage a client to read a book. It's important to reading, yes? So what happened, even if the ones that are not literate, you know, and don't have that reading capacity, I encourage them to even look at a magazine. A picture can speak volumes.
The role of farm manager and social worker Cecil Cox is to ensure that everything on the farm is intact and that they produce agricultural produce which helps to bring in income to help feed the clients both in the streets and in the shelter.
With the farm, we produce so far pigs. That's make meat for them. We presently have over 90 pigs in all now. We also have goats that we rear, and all of that goes towards feeding. Now we produce bananas, plantain, and we have a few patches of sugar cane that we also use that to give to the pigs. Sometimes the feed are low, so we can use that to help to feed the pigs. We have now put in the ground some corn, sorrel. I have a little area, a little garden around the back of this shelter. Also that we produce callaloo, and I mean vegetable in general, vegetable. We rear chickens, broilers and layers. Now also that goes to feed the clients. One thing too, we also do this as a form of rehabilitation, because these clients, they are not persons that work every person and what have you. So when we do this, they work in it for them to understand that, you know, they need to do something, and this will also help them to create job for themselves when they reach a point where they can leave the mission. When some of these cases comes to my attention, it really plays a great impact on me, knowing that it could be one of mine. And because of that, I really give sympathy to them, and somebody need to care for them. Somebody need to care for them. So because of that, sometimes their story might not add up, but there are some form of compassion you need to extend to them. So, you know, it brings a great impact on me with that, knowing that they are human also. If everybody look at, if it was me, if everybody look at if it was me, I would love somebody to have compassion and extend mercy. So I'm looking at the government in general and business persons can come together and just look at their lifestyle as human beings and get together and said, okay, those less fortunate children are out there, people are out there, they need something, they need somewhere, they need love. I think it would be better for society, and we'll have a better country.
I wanted to be an educator because I believe that education is the most powerful weapon that can change the world.
My dreams and aspiration is to one day become an entrepreneur where I can employ other persons and help to build the country.
I wanted to go into development. I wanted to help people become better versions of themselves. Growing up, I saw a lot of violence, I saw a lot of crime, I saw a lot of poverty. The challenges are so many. The first one that comes to mind is the level of youth unemployment that's here.
Challenges that exist here in West Prospect Bogwalk are lack of awareness for educational opportunities or job opportunities.
Not many got the chance to do CXC or graduate from the secondary level. So that's a major setback for the people living in the community.
A way to alleviate this issue is training programs.
They need more opportunities, like to go back to school, to get themselves a certificate so they can be able to work and create employment for themselves and their family.
Push more entrepreneurship opportunity, encourage these youths to be creative and innovative in what they do. Give them startup capital to start their business. Invest more in the youth skills and talents.
The Poverty Reduction Program is funded by the European Union, and it really is a program that focuses on the most vulnerable type of communities, making communities safer, making citizens more healthy, better access to education.
For European Union, investing in youth is an obvious choice. They are the future of the country. If we prepare them well, they will bring the change that Jamaica needs. That's why we invest in scholarships, internship, training in life skills and mentorship.
I received a tertiary scholarship from PRP to attend the University of Technology, Jamaica. It meant a lot to me because I realized that somebody else believed in me and somebody saw the potential that I have and somebody believed that I could actually achieve my goal.
I benefited by getting firstly an internship, and also they assisted my bachelor's degree financially. But critically, outside of the finances, the persons that were on the project, you know, the motivation that they provided, etc., it really provided a huge boost.
This is my third year at the MICO. This scholarship, it helped me to be able to focus only on my education here, because tertiary education is not cheap.
I was placed at ODPEM on the one-year internship program. It was really good. It was an opportunity for me to prove myself, to give myself a service, and also to gain experience in the working world, and to also provide for my family.
I plan to be an agent of change in my community by being a mentor, a leader, and a godfather for the youths growing up. Try to help them, teach them a trade.
You don't have to be rich to help. You don't have to achieve greatness to start. I contributed to my basic school by providing them with the necessary resources that they need, that I believe that in the long run, it will have a ripple effect on many, many persons.
Professionally, I manage the whole program, which is aimed at giving young persons the opportunity to, you know, do what I did, basically, to get their foot inside an organization. Additionally, I also have a little small business that I try to employ young persons to learn a skill, etc.
When you're persistent in life, when you're determined, when you're hungry for success, then you'll be able to accomplish and achieve anything that you want.
It has changed hundreds and hundreds of lives. Not just my life, my family lives, my friends' lives, etc. I want to just urge everyone looking on to continue these social programs. These are the solutions to the many